I got a lot to say and a short time to say it, so let's get to it. Dear Secretary Rubio, my name is Eddie. I'm an American, born and raised in Texas, and like you, come from Latino heritage. I live in Moscow, Russia, not because I fled the United States for political reasons. I simply found love here, and I stayed. My wife applied for a non-immigrant visa to visit the United States, to visit family and friends in April of 2024. Now, because of the breakdown in diplomatic relations between the US and Russia, the US Embassy in Russia, for all practical purposes, doesn't work. Doesn't work for US citizens, doesn't work for Russian citizens, it just doesn't work. You know that. You're trying to reestablish that diplomatic relationship, and I give kudos to you. Please continue to do that. But what I've got to tell you is to let you know that you have some work to do. You've got some work to do. So let's get back to the story. My wife applies for a non-immigrant visa, and of course she has to apply in another country because you can't use the US Embassy here in Moscow because it's completely useless. So we chose Yerevan, Armenia, as a neighboring country. My wife submits the application, receives an email from the embassy that says, "We received your documents, everything's good to go. We've made an appointment for you to meet with an immigration officer to adjudicate your case. And we see on your application that you want to travel to the United States in January of 2025, but we have scheduled your interview for February 2025. Yeah. I still don't know if that was on purpose or you guys are just that backlogged, but I'm going to tell you the story because you need to know about this story. So we don't travel to the United States, obviously, in 2025. In January 2025, we keep the appointment. My wife buys air tickets, hotel, transfers, meals, the whole bit, travels to Yerevan the day before her interview. The day of the interview, there's a huge snowstorm that falls in February in Yerevan, and she gets a message very early in the morning telling her that the US Embassy is closed for the day because of snow. It closed because it snowed in Yerevan. When my wife told me the news, I laughed because this is typical America. It snows, America shuts down. This is not how it works in the rest of the world. But yeah, it happened. And it was on a Friday. So what could my wife do? Air tickets, hotel, transfers, meals, all down the drain for nothing. Interview rescheduled for 2 months later. Correction, 2 weeks later. Again, air tickets, the whole bit, goes back to Armenia. This time, shows up at the embassy. Her appointment, 8:45 a.m. She's number 34 in the queue already at 8:45. When she finally gets to meet with her immigration officer, she's surprised to discover there's only 3 immigration officers working at the US Embassy in Yerevan, largest US Embassy anywhere in the world. Only 3 immigration officers to adjudicate visa applications. You got to do something about that. You got to do something about that. My wife, let me give you a little bit of a background. She's well educated. She has earned an MD and PhD in the medical sciences. She's worked professionally in international companies. She's traveled all over the world extensively. She's been to the United States on 3 previous occasions, both well over 10 years ago, for business. She's had business visas. She's been to the US to attend conferences, symposiums. You know how it works. Each time she applied for a business visa, it was automatically denied And she was told that because she had a scientific background, the application would have to go to Washington for final approval. She always got a visa, by the way, but she had to go through this. And it always took 6, 7, 8 months to get a visa. She goes to Yerevan, and of course, same thing happens. They see that she has this medical scientific background. Oh, no, 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 no. This is dangerous, very, very dangerous. We cannot let medical doctors travel to the United States just to go visit family and friends, of their husbands. We can't do that because we can't trust them. In fact, we cannot trust them because just this morning I read Senator John Cotton is sponsoring a bill. He's putting forth a bill that will ban scientists from quote unquote hostile countries. The hostile countries named, by the way, Mr. Secretary, are Russia, China, Iran, and North Korea, specifically to ban these scientists from these countries so that they cannot enter the U.S. national laboratories. You know what this sounds like? This sounds like more Russophobia, more Sinophobia. That's it. I thought the Cold War was over, man. Incredible, incredible. So now my wife has to submit CV, list, complete list, dates of entry and egress from every country she's been to. Mind you, she's been to over 50 countries, sometimes multiple times. Incredible. Just to get a tourist visa. Dude, Mr. Secretary, with all respect, while you were senator, we watched an invasion on the southern border of the United States. Do you remember that? I know you spoke out about it. She could just go through that southern border and come into the United States and be there. We're trying to do it legally. We want to legally enter the United States for a visit and return back to Russia because this is where we live. This is our home, baby. We're staying in Russia. And she's got to go through all of this crap. You got to do better, man. You got to do better. Now, President Trump hired you. You know, just in contrast, let me just let you know this. I've applied for several different visas to enter the Russian Federation. Tourist visas, private visas, I don't care what it is. Every time I've applied, it's taken 3 weeks to process. 3 weeks to get a visa. And mind you, the application isn't 34 pages like the US application is. It's 2 pages front and back. 3-week turnaround time. I've even applied for temporary residency and was granted residency here in the Russian Federation. Total time from application to receiving TRP, 4 months. 4 months! Incredible. You can do better. America can do better. Trump hired you. Now, you know what? You weren't my first choice for Secretary of State. In fact, you weren't even in the top 10. But Trump saw fit. He sees something in you. Okay, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. But you've been hired with a mandate from the American people, and that's to clean up the State Department. You got to bring it up into the 21st century. You know, make it a pillar of international diplomacy, openness, and cooperation in the multipolar world. Can you do that? Are you up to the task? That's a big job. It's a big job. Not only am I asking you to do it, but as an American citizen, I demand it. Do better. Sincerely, Eddie.